Welcome to Jacksonville Inside and Out, the show that's going to talk about everything going on in Jacksonville, around Jacksonville, and what's going down in the heart. Today we've got activist, actor, director, writer, Tea Rorstrom, and he is going to be talking about some of the issues facing the transgender community here in Jacksonville. So, just to get to it. So, one question. And we started to talk about this a little bit before we started, and that was the idea that men have an easier time than women in society. So now that you're transgender or transitioning from female to male, or transgender male now, have you noticed any of those kinds of advantages that men have?
Well, I mean, you have taken into regards certain other factors. I'm pagan, I'm poor, I'm mixed race, and I'm queer. So any privilege that I may have as a male is canceled out by all that, because most privileged is white, male, Protestant, middle class. I'm only fitting one category, so therefore I don't have as much privilege. I'm in fact extremely oppressed.
Yeah, I get a ton of privilege as a white male in this society. Atheist, but white male. But either way. Now, some of the other issues going on are, well, the state of Florida, gay marriage is legal, but our county and a few other counties here in Florida have decided that their clerks of the court will not be performing any marriages now. Basically, I'll take my ball and go home attitude. What's your take on that?
I mean, they're violating the separation of church and state by letting their personal beliefs affect their job. In a normal work setting, if my religious beliefs affected my ability to perform my job, I would be fired. So I don't see why they are not being held to the same standard. Also, it's just a really bigoted move, because you're trying to deny people, all people, a service that was, done at the courthouse and paid for by our tax dollars. We pay for this. We pay for the building, we pay for everything that they're in, and they won't do a service because they might end up having to marry gay people.
What about the argument that that's just a service that that was like kind of optional, that they didn't really have to do that in the first place?
But if someone was not involved in the church or didn't have any notary friends, that was a better option, especially if they wanted to keep things small and private, because then they would only have to pay a small fee after licensing fees, instead of having to shell out for catering, photography, and all sorts of things that come with a traditional wedding. Mm-hmm.
So you're basically saying that these people should just leave their religion at home, and if they, no matter how convinced they are that they're in the right, that they're following their convictions, that they should just go ahead and swallow that when they go to work, and do it anyway, no matter how convicted they feel about it.
It's okay. They are violating church and state, and the fact that it is freedom for all religions, not just their religion. And when your religious beliefs are used in a bigoted manner to cross the line and infringe on someone else's freedoms, it becomes a matter that affects everybody. And it's not just a matter of your personal beliefs anymore. You're using them to oppress other people.
Okay. Now, you have a bit of a libertarian streak, am I right there?
Yes.
Now, what about in the private sector? Now, say there's a doctor who doesn't want to treat patients who believe a certain thing. I mean, do you believe that they should have that right, or do you think that they should just find another job? I mean, if a Jehovah's Witness is a doctor and they can't do blood transfusions, they shouldn't be in my opinion, they shouldn't be in a job that
well, no, they shouldn't be in a job that requires that, but there also needs to be an avenue for, okay, if that doctor is the only doctor that person has been put up to, there needs to be an alternative doctor provided that will do the services rendered. It's a matter of free market.
Well, they have the thing with pharmacists. There are certain places will allow pharmacists not to give out birth control, even though that's a prescribed drug that's used for more than just birth control to begin with, just because they're...
That pharmacist needs to find another line of work.
Okay. So some things you think that just...
Well, I'm not a hardline libertarian. I'm a more moderate libertarian.
Okay.
And it's libertarian philosophically, not party line, because I don't believe in party affiliations. I like to vote however I want to vote.
Okay. That's fair enough. Now back to the transgender issues and politics in Jacksonville. Our city council has voted against a human rights ordinance, something that every major city has.
That's because they're letting, again, their bigoted religious views infringe on other people's rights. And because a lot of, it's no secret, you can't really hold office or do anything with city council in Jacksonville unless you're a member of First Baptist Church.
Okay.
So they're trying to build a little theocracy out
Hold that
here.
thought. We'll come back on that note. We got to go to commercial. We'll be right back with more of Jacksonville Inside It Out. All right, welcome back to Jacksonville Inside and Out. We're here with Tea Rorstrom, and we are talking politics in Jacksonville. We were just getting to the issue of the human rights ordinance, something that every major city in the United States has outside of Jacksonville, and it used to be San Antonio, Texas, but I believe they've already passed one, leaving us all alone in that top 75 populated cities. So you were saying about the First Baptist Church controlling our city council, which used to be very true. It's only kind of half true nowadays.
But when they turn down the human rights ordinance and by doing a little prayer first, that was despicable. And again, another example of people using religion to back up their bigotry. Mm-hmm. And they also had it a way, they tried to play the little animosity there is between the lesbians and the gays versus the transgenders, because they're like, well, if you can just remove gender identity from the human rights ordinance, we can let y'all have it. That was the one that was last time.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that in every sector of our society that the bigotry is just falling back further and further and further, and it's getting narrower and narrower and narrower, where it used to be anybody different than the white male Protestant, and then okay, fine, we'll let black men vote and other minorities vote, and then finally, okay, women. Oh wait, now we have to give gay people rights, and now we have to give these transgender people rights, which a lot of people just don't get that. They don't understand the identity that goes with that. Or, somebody like me, I was fortunate enough, born what I am, and,
Well, you're comfortable in your body.
Yeah.
You feel right.
So, what is it like to not be comfortable in your body? What is it like to feel like you should have been born someone else or something else?
Well, I grew up, people always consider me a tomboy, all this stuff. I was out in the yard, shirts off with all the other boys, belts across my chest, playing Rambo, everything else. Everything was fine, great, and good. I can just run around, get dirty and whatever. Then I grew tits, and then it was just dysphoria set in from there, and I'm like, this isn't right. This isn't what's supposed to be going on with my body. Mm-hmm. And then when puberty hit and more female features started coming in, even though I was still very masculine, it's just like, this still is not right. What's going on here? What's happening with my body? And then it's like, when I started dating and everything, well, I must be, I feel like a boy. I like girls. I must be a lesbian. Maybe I'm one of them butch lesbians. So, I did that for a while, and it's like, it's a matter of constantly trying to find yourself and not fitting in with anybody, mm-hmm. and not feeling whole. Okay. And now that I've actually come out as, okay, this is what I am. I am a man. Going to work to become the man I'm supposed to be. I've been a lot happier.
Now, you're 35 now. Mm-hmm. Growing up, I'm guessing that this was a hard thing. This was not something that you could really discuss with your parents. This wasn't even a thing that was really discussed in society at all.
No.
How much easier do you think it is? And I'm not saying that it's easy today. How much easier is it today compared to when you were hitting puberty?
Well, I mean, I was still getting, like, during puberty, I was still getting picked on for being mixed race by white kids as well as Filipinos. I was getting picked on for being pagan, and then going through puberty, realizing, hey, I'm not heterosexual, I'm very much queer leaning. It's like, it was very difficult, especially with how closed-minded things were all over the place. It didn't start opening up really till the late 90s when I was trying to come out of high school. And I was still getting bottles thrown at me, called tranny, and bald faggot, and all sorts of other stuff, because they didn't understand me. And now compared that to now, it's very much more open. You have, teenagers now undergoing hormone therapy and stuff before they hit puberty, so their transition goes a lot better. So it's definitely opened up a lot more.
So what do you tell a parent today who's trying to deal with that issue? Because it's not just a transition for you; it's a transition for your friends, it's a transition for your parents, it's a transition for everybody in your life. Obviously, your transition is probably much more difficult to deal with, but psychologically, it's still a thing for everyone else. I mean, what kind of advice would you give to if there are parents out there right now, and their son or daughter is having to go through this? What advice do you give them?
Be loving and supported. Don't cut your child down. Don't tell them this is just a phase. Be there and help them get comfortable with their bodies. We don't need any more children killing themselves because of parents who aren't being understanding, who throw their children out.
All right, thank you. And we'll be right back with more of Jacksonville Inside and Out. All right, welcome back to Jacksonville Inside and Out. Our guest again here is Tea Rorstrom. We've been talking about the issues that dealing with the gay rights community, the transgender community, and she's also. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
He is also an actor, and a writer and a director. So I want to talk about a little bit about our local film community. How difficult is it to find roles as a transgender male?
Well, when I started out acting and I would go to places like Atlantic Beach Experimental Theater, Alhambra, and everything to audition for productions, I would never get any parts because they couldn't give past that I didn't fit any of their stereotypes and anything that they had outlined for base characters. And they still, well, you're wearing a binder, you still technically have boobs and stuff like that, so we're only going to be able to consider you for female parts, yet you have short hair or a shaved head, and we can't use you, Mm-hmm. There's nothing we can do with you.
Right.
And so stage theater hasn't been very kind to me. It's been rather bigoted. But working with local film crews with like Kilikazi, Flying Pygmy, and then doing this like Peon Project and
Well, yeah, you've done some voice acting for Flying Pygmy and for me with Flying Pygmy and with the Peon Project back ways back. You actually play Mohammed in a cartoon that we're doing. It's kind of on hiatus right now while we're working on animation.
Still working on it.
But and I cast you as a female villain in one.
But that was for me. That was drag.
Okay.
Because you have to be versatile in your roles, but not a lot of people get that I can be versatile upon first meeting me because they don't give me the chance. So it's a matter of basically finding groups and production companies within the city that you can work with.
Okay. And with Flying Pygmy, you're on our board, so that makes it a little bit easier for you to, as far as finding roles within our.
Yeah, because I can be like, okay, do you have anything for me? Or if there's not any roles, well, I come to you with a script. It's like, hey, you know, mostly I've done the writing for Flying Pygmy. I haven't done anything outside Flying Pygmy yet, writing-wise, and that's where I mostly do my directing. So, but I have acted in other productions outside of Flying Pygmy around the city.
Okay.
And I am looking to hopefully get on Walking Dead and Constantine. I keep on putting out my face. It's like, here, guys. No, seriously, I can do this. I can do this.
But you were in choreography.
Yes, choreography was part of Kilikazi. That was fun.
What was your role in that?
I was a method actor, rugby player, pretending to be a zombie in the documentary. Like, it's a documentary of a filming of a zombie movie on a low budget. So I was, in that movie, I was a method actor who was playing a zombie in a low budget movie.
Now, if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've seen that film, but wasn't there some sort of thing going on in the parody with some of the actors being transgender or becoming transgender during it was one of the actors was transitioning from female to male. It was one of the actors.
Yeah, there was one of the actors. It was.
But that was in the script.
That was in the script. That wasn't real life. That was in the script.
What did you think of that portrayal, though?
It's
a comedy.
It was played purely for comedy and comedic value. It's, you know, there was really no harm in that.
Okay. And the rest of the film community, you've worked with a few people, but...
I worked with Louis Farinella in a series that ended up called Transmission. I was the hospital gown zombie.
Okay.
But that series, unfortunately, ended up not getting past a few episodes because one of the people involved in it died, and it was really, they couldn't really get past all that.
Okay. And you're in post-production with a Flying Pygmy production, which is the Steam Foo, something that you actually wrote for
Steam
yourself.
Foo. Well, it's like I am a big Doctor Who fan, and I was looking, it's like, well, we need more transgender role models. So it's sci-fi, transgender, just fun. And still working on that, still on hiatus. Got to work on season 2 now. So we still have to finish the editing for season 1, but it's going to happen. It's really going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to get that out soon. So
there are things in the works. It's just a matter of time and patience. And there's, it's the local community has to open up a little bit more and be more accepting. Like, I had to turn down the coming out monologues because of work, but I would like to at least do my own coming out project because they wanted to get a trans voice in there.
Well, what's been your biggest role so far? What's been your most what's been your biggest role? They say there's no small roles, but there are certainly roles with a lot more lines than others. What's been your really starring moment?
I don't really judge it by lines or anything. Playing the Sugar Glider was absolutely fun, and it got to challenge my skills as a voice actor in doing different accents. But, those are accents I normally speak with anyway. It's just different contexts. Because, when I was 5 years old, up until I was 5 years old, I spoke with a British accent that no one else knew why. But it happened, and then, speech therapists got a hold of me, and I didn't start speaking with my British accent, again, until my teenage years, where I'm like, this is my accent, this is there.
Too much Doctor Who as a kid? Is that where the British accent came from?
I don't know, I was 5.
James Bond, maybe?
But then I also have my Scottish accent that I use at the Highland Games and everything else, because I'm around family. But then there's my Filipino accent when I'm around my Filipino family. So it's just... I had practice because these are the voices and things that you use when you're comfortable around certain people. So.
Okay. That's fair enough. So where do you want to see Jacksonville 10 years from now? From a human rights standpoint, from the entertainment community standpoint, where would you like to see Jacksonville 10 years from now?
Well, I'd like to see Jacksonville be more open and accepting and not be on the list where we're in the bottom of the worst cities. I want it to be an open, loving, and accepting environment where everyone has their rights and needs met. As for the acting and everything else, I want us to reclaim the title of Hollywood of the South.
All right.
I want us to rise up again and take that back.
The South will rise up again and take back Hollywood.
Yep.
All right. Thank you again for watching Jacksonville Inside and Out. I'm Christian Gore. Here with me is Tea Rorstrom. It's been a wonderful guest, and we will see you next week with candidate for mayor, Omega Allen. Have a good day.